morning, everybody. We are 100 Years Enterprise, and here we are again. Consequence of the Street Life, Season 5, Episode 7. Our next guest, before we introduce her, she's been doing some tremendous work in the community, and she will really go into depth about what she do and the new things what she has accomplished recently. So before I begin, my name is Fahim, and again, we are 100 Years Enterprise, shooting Consequence of the Street Life. And before we go into that, Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
I'm Dante.
Patrick.
And again, we are 100 Years Enterprise. So I want to read something real quick before I introduce her. I want to read something real quick. Something, let me go. So when we talk about youth development, been doing this tremendous work for over 15 years. You know, it's not regular or that we hear all the time. You see a black woman, you know, for 15 years coming up in the urban communities, working with the kids, working with the youth, and then come from our type of backgrounds. What I mean by our type of backgrounds, you know, one instead of less fortunate, the underserved, but who dealt with a lot of things in the community. She got a bachelor's degree too. So she gonna go into the bachelor's degree, and she's a public speaker. Okay. She's a leader, and she has a nonprofit organization. So we want to welcome Khariyyah to the show. Khariyyah Shabazz, welcome.
Khariyyah Shabazz.
She told me again, and I stand corrected for the 10th time. Khariyyah Shabazz, welcome to the show.
No, he's trying. Thank you very much for having me. It's definitely an honor to be here with you all and to really just share our experiences together. Mm-hmm. So thank you.
You're welcome. Absolutely. So I've been trying to get you on the show for a while, and then I know we've been following each other on Instagram. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, she's doing a lot in the community. And then we had a conversation with myself and Patrick. That's like what, 6-7 months ago. We
She's been popping up.
Yeah.
Shout out.
We were trying to, put it together. So, public speaking. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to start there, but where you thought I was going to start. Tell me about this book.
Okay, let's get into it. So I am so honored and proud to say I've now added the title author to my many roles. My first book will be coming out within the next few months. The book is called Resilient Voices, a compilation of inspirational quotes, best practices, and community voices. Okay, so for this book, as I am, go travel around the world and professional speak, I actually want to give people tangible things to have. I don't want to just come in here and say, hey, this is what we do, this is how we do. Now you go do it. Yeah. No, this book is actually, like I said, a compilation of some of my most inspirational quotes from the speeches that I've already done, right? But then I also go into depth a little bit about the best practices and kind of explain a little bit about the quote and how it actually ties to how you can do it, how you can make change in your community, how you can affect the youth, how you can combat against environmental justice. Another huge part about this book is the other voices, the community voices. I included about 3 to 4 different interviews with other community leaders. I don't know if I want to drop that just yet. But the community leaders that I have included, they're powerful, y'all.
Quick question. We talk about best practices. Give us one.
Some best practices are collective impact, right? Is joining forces, right? So if you have a nonprofit, you have a for-profit, you have the youth right there with you, coming together to actually serve and actually reach your goal, and which is having a common goal within that collective impact. That's a best practice. Exactly. Joining forces. That's something that we can all do. A lot of people may feel some type of way about when you're getting funded. Oh, what? Why I didn't get funded? Okay, well, I got funded. Well, but I actually need you to actually do the work for me. You know what I mean? So combining like minds, combining forces, combining superpowers is something that we can all do, and it's something that we can do today.
That's what's up.
I agree. Quick question, Miss Khariyyah.
Yes,
Okay,
there you
got
go.
that right. Give the people just a little bit of who you are, where you grew up at, if you don't mind.
No problem. So I'm from East Oakland, okay? I am the youngest of 7, hence my tagline, number 7 of the Shabazz tribe. I come from very great, grounded parents. We are Muslim. I was born Muslim. I saw you all at the Eid celebration. That was really exciting. And it's actually Eid today, and it's going to be a different Eid Mubarak. And so come from a large family. We moved around a lot in East Oak. I'm from 77th Bancroft. We done lived on 90th. I went to Bella Vista. I went to a few schools out there in East Oakland. And one thing that my father always made sure is that we stayed connected as a family. We literally had family meetings on Sundays. Then he'd take us out to Malibu, take us to the drive-in, take us to the flea market. Then we'll go have fun. But every Sunday morning, we literally had meetings, family meetings, and of course we're like, but as you can see, within all my siblings, I have a sister that's a lawyer. My brother's a barber, has his own barbershop. I have another sister who runs a nonprofit in Minnesota. What he says, the mud stuck. You throw enough mud on the wall, it's gonna stick. So that was a lot of my childhood. I ended up going to James Logan, go Colts, okay? Ran track and cross country where I learned a lot of leadership skills. I made a lot of great friends that we're still friends to this day. And those are a lot of great people that I continue to look up to. I ended up getting my bachelor's in mass communications. Yep, and a minor in sign. Okay, so and from Cal State East Bay. Okay, from Cal State East Bay. So it was Cal State Hayward when we protested. It didn't work. They still changed the name. So. From then, I went straight to corporate, right? Because we all had the dream, right? The dream was to go to college, get a good job, make some good money. They didn't tell you what it actually takes to even get to that level and how much they're going to work you to death. So I went to corporate for about 6 months. After that, unprofessionally, I said, I can't do this anymore. While I was with the client, she said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I want to do what drives me to tears. And she, from that moment on, she turned in my resume to the organization that she was working with, which was Higher Ground Neighborhood Development Corp. And that is where I got so much experience. It was so great working with Higher Ground, and I started there as a tutor. So that's where I got a lot of my 15 years with that organization. And with their fearless leader, Amber Blackwell. And I started there as a tutor and then came the deputy executive director of the organization. So it was a lot. I was able to build programs. I was able to build youth. I was able to build adults. I was able to collaborate with different community-based organizations across the spectrum. So yes, we did a lot with youth development, but we also did civic engagement. We did a lot of environmental justice. We did a lot of collaborating with our civic leaders, so like our city council members, our mayors, and things like that. And we completed so many initiatives right there in East Oakland. So the job brought me back to East Oakland, where it all came from. So I did a lot of work in Sabrani Park and Brookfield and throughout. So from that, I got the idea like, okay, of course, we all love doing the work. We all love it. But it was always for someone else, right? That's not my organization. So I was like, well, what do I have? Well, I still have my talents. I still have the experience, and I was still able to actually do these things. And that's where I came up with creating my own professional speaking platform, Khariyyah Speaks. And it's been amazing. It's been an amazing experience being able to travel the world and share these real best practices on community engagement, youth development, environmental justice, to show how we are successful right here. Richmond is super successful. I just learned about, you all's homicide rate.
Yeah.
Drastically dropped.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're not talking about that though. But anyway, so
we'll get to the
I mean, like the news is not like, come on, that's important. But taking all the best practices from the Bay Area and spreading them out, because people need to know this.
Yes.
People need to know what's going on. So yes, I do have my own business, and it's been an amazing experience. That's where I was able to write my book from my experiences. And then I also work in nonprofit leadership still. So I work for Roots Community Health as the Associate Director of Neighborhood Development. And y'all, Roots don't play. I always tell Roots don't play. They get the idea, they get to work and get it done. And it's been an amazing experience. I've been there for about 8 months, and I've been learning. I've been growing. I was like, oh, what else can I learn? What else can I grow on? So that's where I am with it. I currently reside in Vallejo. All right. So I've been fortunate to get to Solano County. And woo, there's so much going on out there. I was able to dibble and dabble in politics and work with the great Cassandra James and help get her elected to county supervisor, and really understand who are the players, what's really going on with the education system out there. I'm able to, now I sit on the board with the Vallejo Project, which is a awesome nonprofit that promotes youth and allows youth to find their islands of competencies, find out what they're good at, and get them to that point. Good. So that's a little bit about me.
That's a lot about you. I play that. I want to give a shout out to your dad.
Oh yeah,
because I'm quite sure pieces of him is in you. It's reverberating over here. So I got to ask you a question. First of all, I want to know, Khariyyah, is what I'm saying that?
Oh, wow. Khariyyah.
Khariyyah.
You say Miss Shabazz.
Okay, Miss Shabazz. But I do want to know what the first name means.
Oh.
That's why I'm asking, because I can gleam off what that name means.
It means benevolent and charitable.
Okay, great.
Okay,
and the second question I have is, with all that great work you did, just for the young women that's coming up and want to go in the direction you go, because you are an example, what are the challenges? What was the challenge you faced? Because you got to be resilient. A lot of doors was closed, I imagine. And I know you dug some doors open, so tell us a little bit about that.
Well, just saying exactly what you just said. Young women, your youth, your age, that's going to go against you with your experience. People are going to judge you. You know, I was fortunate to be, a supervisor over many groups, and my age range, I had a 60-year-old to all the way to an 11-year-old, and able to connect on all of those levels. For young women, you got to be nimble. You got to be versatile. You got to be able to make those connections on those type of levels so that people can respect you, put some respect on your name. You know what I mean? And that comes from the experience. That comes from following through. That comes from doing what you say you're gonna do. And once whatever generation sees that, then that's a perfect example of getting that support, of getting on board and getting over those barriers. But definitely making those decisions and actually deciding what you want to do, finding out what you're good at. That's why I always tell young women, try everything, explore, travel, say yes. Say yes to things. You know what I mean? So it's important to find out exactly what you're good at. I tried corporate. I ran programs. I found out I was good. Okay, I like this from running this program. I like this from working with people. Take those little parts of yourself. I like this from speaking, and then create yourself. You know what I mean? Create your image and taking it and really dialing in to those things that make you happy. And those things that make you happy, and I always say my greatest accomplishment is what I do for others. Okay, understand those things. If makeup is your passion, understand what doing a makeover can really do for someone's security. Understanding that fashion is your passion, understanding that those are ways that we can really still connect on those levels and help the less fortunate who are not able to get to those levels. I have a business partner, Charlesetta Baldwin. She runs Charlie's on the Spot, which is an online boutique. Charlie's popping, y'all. But she's amazing. This is what she does. She says, yes, I'm all glamorous and everything, but her number one thing is to give back to those young girls.
Right.
Make sure that she's from Richmond too. Make sure that they know her story and know her path so that they can have an example.
We
to
might have
do
to
it
book
as
her
well.
too.
Yes.
Yeah, we might have to book
Charlie's
her.
amazing.
I got a question. We talk about civic engagement and taking, and roots, staying rooted. Grabbing young women coming from the juvenile institutions.
Yeah.
How is that being? Or do you grab women coming from those juvenile settings?
Well, I've worked with youth from all types of life. All types of life. You know, they may be doing certain things in their life. They may have made some decisions, and our one mistake does not define us. They may have made some decisions, but it's always important just to, they're no different. You know what I mean? You know, they if more, they need even more love. You know what I mean? They need even more of that connection. I've always wanted to make sure that when I connect with you, it's a genuine thing.
Absolutely.
This is not just, oh, you know what I mean? We're just doing this for face. No, making that genuine connection so you can understand why did those youth or those individuals made that choice. Why did they make that choice? So that we can then address that issue.
Right. So with addressing that issue, let's address it a little bit.
Okay,
Now,
let's do it.
because you come from a household of 7. Your father had you all grounded, especially on Sunday outings. Now we got a lot of young women who dads are incarcerated.
Yeah.
Right, and so they don't have their dad there in their life, but they trying to figure out.
I know.
And sad to say, they try to find substitutes and replacements at a young age. What can you give some young women and say, hey, your dad is gone, but that replacement what you may be seeking isn't the one you might want.
Right. I know so many fathers that are still fathering from behind the bars, so it's important to keep those relationships. I would definitely say that you got to understand your self-worth, right? What my daddy just told me, he's like, listen, I'm proud of you. You're doing everything. Don't even worry about getting married or anything right now because ain't nobody really on your level. You got to understand your self-worth, okay? Once you understand, you know what you're going to tolerate. You know what you're not going to tolerate. I want you to lean in on those other father figures. I'm telling them. I want you to lean in on those other father figures. I have 4 brothers. You know, lean in on those other father figures, your uncles, your brothers, that can really give you that direction. Having those type of models as adults is extremely, extremely important. So definitely you got to know your self-worth so that you do not just tolerate anything from anybody, and understand the difference between the type of love that somebody's saying that they giving, the type of love that they actually are giving, and what is the proper way to love. You know, should you be hurting? Should you be doing things that's breaking the law? Should you be sacrificing with?
That ain't love.
Listen, it's a lot of lust. That's not really how love goes. You know what I mean? So you gotta understand that, break that down, have those conversations, get those connections with those other important men within your life.
Thank you.
Can I just add one more thing to that? Because I'm just advocating for those who may not have that system. May not have uncles, may not have, some do, some don't, or some uncles took advantage of some. So if you don't have that outlook, I think, you know, in regards to just listening to you, that energy that you reverberating in you, that, you know, maybe in regards to those who don't have that. You talk to the young ladies. Find the circles of learning, those kind of sisterhoods, right, that can actually provide a sense of what you were saying in regards to
self-love. Self-worth.
Example.
Yes.
And, you know, because it's a lot of young ladies out here that don't have that. They go on instinct. You know?
I absolutely agree. I love the women empowerment movements that are going on right now. Shout out to the right there in Brookfield to Miss Helen Harvey and Miss Sylvia Brooks, who host these annual women empowerment brunches every year for the young girls, for the middle age, for, you know, these are the types of events, you're exactly right, that they should be attending. These are the type of friends that they should be clicking up with. This is exactly what it means to raise a village. So, yeah, I totally agree.
I got a question, Miss Karina.
Oh, okay.
Right?
You said Khariyyah, right?
Miss Khariyyah.
Okay, cool.
So we know that in our society, mental health plays a really, really big part in our youth today. So, is there any encouraging words can you give the peoples about how to address mental health? Because a lot of us, especially as black folks, we don't like to talk about the things that may be really bothering us, and we bottled up all inside, right? So what could you say for somebody that's suffering from mental health?
Yeah, one thing I would definitely say, so it's something that has happened directly within our family, and one thing that we want to say is don't give up. Okay, don't give up. One thing that we did within our agency was provide mental health first aid training. I believe everybody needs mental health first aid training. Everybody, so that you know how to deal with someone who may be having an episode. So you don't just, something's happening, throw them in jail. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's no reason why prison should be the biggest mental health institution within the land. Like, that makes no sense, okay? That means that maybe there's really an issue, instead of just locking folks up, that you need to address before we get to that state. And before they even get to the state of doing the, whatever behavior that may have happened in the street to get them locked up. There's things that we all need as a community to be aware of. These types of actions is so common nowadays. It's so common, and it just really helps if you know how to react to these situations. It helps if we can de-escalate these situations. But if you are going through, you are having mental health issues, please find someone to talk to. Please, there are so many youth groups as well as adult groups that you can connect with. Make sure that you're spending time doing the things that you like, making sure that you have an outlet. Okay, even if it's not within your family, that means you're gonna have to go outside your family to create your village. Okay, so don't give up. Make sure that you're feeding yourself the things that you need to ultimately get better, or to ultimately function at a high level.
Yes, it's you just said first aid training, right? Me and my sister, we just took a 10-hour course on that, so we both just got certified.
Yay!
First aid training deal with the mental health, because it is a big issue in our community, and it just allowed me to reflect back on some of the things that bothered me growing up that I didn't realize. So even today, I still need somebody to talk to after doing 30 years in prison. Going to prison at 17 years old and dealing with all kind of crap up in prison, that we had to see. So everybody need to tap in to mental health.
Yeah, and get the resources are out there, my folks. Alameda County has several resources. The resources are out there, and it's really up to folks to be able to grab those resources and get the resources to the people who need it the most, and get the resources to the families that are actually dealing with the individual. Because I just got the training, and we've been having this issue for years, but I'm like, okay, this is what you do now. You know what I mean? And what you gonna do? Call the police on your brother when when you know that's a risk as well? So you gotta have these tools under your belt. So congratulations to you and your sis.
You have to. Mental health is not anything new. It's people just using a word, and they turn it to a buzzword. Basically, we say we got issues, and then we need to deal with, right? And we address something, but we forget to assess the situation. So you got to go knock on the door. What's really going on?
What's really going on?
We see people walking around here every day. We walk right past them dealing with mental health, or they got issues, real deep embedded issues. And sometimes we won't even stop and say hello or how you doing. And you never know, just that quick smile and how you doing can change a person.
You're right.
I have an uncle who been dealing with it. Somebody put something in his drink, and he was in high school. He had just graduated and about to be a professional baseball player at a party, put his cup down. He's still walking around here right now. But his mind is messed up, but he's really haven't had any issues or trouble. He's more, I could say, comprehensive to what's going on, but it slowed down his development. So when we talk about youth, now we're going to youth development.
Yeah.
So that's all I want to segue to youth development, right? So now we talk about youth development. How is it when you have a 13, 14, 15, 16, or 17-year-old who is struggling with their education?
Yeah.
How do your system or your nonprofit deal with that?
Well, you gotta change the system. So,
Can we talk about systems?
Yeah, the
Yes.
system. If you continuously fail this math class, something wrong with the class. Something's wrong with the test. It's not you.
Come on.
It's important that with our youth who are struggling with these different courses, that we provide them an outlet, that we provide them various ways on how to consume this information.
Right.
I'm not just going to understand this from this book. No. Okay?
Before you go there, let me say something. Because I have a young man. And he said, Fahim, man, I'm struggling in my algebra class.
Yeah.
I asked him, are you doing your homework? I'm doing it. How many people in the classroom? It's not like 15, 16, 17 people in the classroom, right? Now I'm checking if it's too crowded. Now, I went back to, now let's assess the situation. Is your teacher helping you the way she is helping others? It's a female teacher. He said, well, a little bit. Now I asked him, are you asking necessary questions, what you need to ask?
Yeah, if you don't.
Right, he said, no, I wasn't. I said, that's what you better start doing. Now you go back and tell that teacher you need to help, and that she don't help you the way you're supposed to, I'm calling up there.
No, you're hitting it right on the head. Yeah, you hit it right on the head. It's the learning styles.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to switch that up. You got to make sure that your learning style is conducive to your audience.
Yes.
And then going back to the ratio, when we're teaching STEM, right? When you're doing STEM classes, the best outcome is when you have a 1-to-7 ratio.
Right.
Who has that? What classroom? Show me right now. You know, so students can get fully absorbed in the information. Okay, so if they're struggling, it's a lot of the learning style, and they may be struggling in that component, but they excel in those other components. You know, and you want to definitely weigh heavy on that. Connect the two. Make it an incentive. Connect the two completely, and make sure that you can only not only participate, but this makes your participation even heavier when you're excelling in this. You know what I mean? So I think that's important, is to ensure that your learning style is getting met, and a lot of times it's not, and a lot of times it's the system, it's the test problem. And like you said, you got to know the right questions to ask. You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And I think too, right? I mean, that's why it's so important for us to have the nonprofit organizations, CBOs, community-based organizations, as well as mentors, because I think too, going on with Fahim said and Dante, it's a matter also too. Just synthetic drugs has really altered, the way they think, they approach a thing differently, right? Not to judge them, but now it's so much like synthetic chemicals in pill. Every solution's got to be done with a pill. Okay, his mood, he need to like
ADHD.
Yeah, so
I got you.
And I didn't know it was that real until I started working in the school system and the juvenile hall. I didn't know it was that real like that. I knew it existed, but I guess I kind of ignored it, went blind. But when I actually started engaging it and working with kids one-on-one, that's why I was saying, sit down talking to them, and then as I'm talking to them, and then they come out, hey, pill call. That blows I'm like, it's like every other hour.
And then seeing the mood change after. Like, I've worked with plenty of students that, were diagnosed and they had to have the medication. I'm like, they wasn't always their lively selves anymore. I'm like,
I never took pills for a headache when I was young. I just wore the headache out, right? But if I did take a pill, it would be for a toothache. 800 milligrams to get to the dentist. Or what was that cough syrup. That was it, like a spoonful.
No.
Now it's like everything that they can.
You know what? You know what?
Let me give a date. 1978.
Are they
1978. Right? Because it can be misconstrued. I was 8 years old. What was that? 404? What was that?
It was 4 something. I remember that. Yeah.
But we
something.
couldn't stand it. My mom would take it out of the
It was
cabinet
nasty, yeah.
and give you a spoon. It was green, and you swallow it in one spoon, right? But now it's like everything that needs to be addressed socially.
No.
Through mentorship and things of that
Yeah.
nature and community, as you said, Bray, they substitute it with a pill. So it's like, that's kind of a challenge too, because
It is.
when you got the kids in school and they off these synthetic drugs, right, vaping and all these things, they mind ain't, half of their brain is, like cloudy.
Yeah.
Right, till they come down. So, that's another challenge. So it's important for us to really kind of understand I think most importantly when we engage them is the connection.
Yeah,
You have to.
You're absolutely right. Our students are getting diagnosed, right, for certain disorders because of that connection, because you couldn't reach them, because you can't control their behavior in class. They'll come to the after school program and we'll have a grand old day, but just to find out they was cutting up all day in your class.
Yep.
Now, because you can't handle them, now you gotta, pop a pill. Now you're getting diagnosed, right? But you hit the nail right on the head when you talked about those community-based organizations really being there to tie in with the schools, right?
Yes.
They have to go hand in hand because, first of all, we're the last ones to see these students. We're the ones to actually see their parents. We're the ones that are actually making that connection with those families to ensure that student is happy and coming to school every day. Without after school programs, you're going to have issues with truancy. You know what I mean? We're going to give something that the students can have something to look forward to when they're coming, not just to telling you to sit down. That's the issue. Maybe I need to get up and walk around.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to go outside and run a lap right quick. You know what I mean? So you're absolutely right. Being able to really not handle and connect with our students has been an ongoing issue and allows our students to be misdiagnosed with these issues, and it makes us harder for us to actually connect with them to the things that they really like, right? And finding out what they're really good at,
Yes.
finding out they're tapping into their islands of competency and using that to push them to their full potential.
Most definitely. Well, look here. Again, I just want to say to you, man, you are a firecracker. And you're, man, I'm amazed at what you do. It's a blessing to see strong, powerful women in our community standing up and doing work like you're doing. And so I commend you, and I look forward to collaborating with her further.
You talk like the conversation over with.
I'm not saying that.
You're saying over with.
Crazy.
I'm giving her respect. I'm telling you what's on my heart. I didn't say close nothing. I was just giving her flowers verbally. Okay. How you take it? Did you take it?
I'm taking it. I'll take whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Miss Khariyyah.
Oh,
He on it.
Okay. When you talk about education system, it always makes me reflect back growing up in school. Couldn't read. Teacher didn't help me. Knew I couldn't read. Wouldn't send no note to the house saying Dante is failing in grade or needs some type of assistance in academic. They just passed me on. So. Yes, the education system has failed me, and I think it failed a lot of young brothers like me as well as sisters like me. I had to teach myself how to read. I had to catch a case, go to juvenile hall, which wound up in prison, and I had to learn how to read. So education is important. It's a big thing, and the reason why I say that is because once I discovered that I could read, it opened up a lot of doors for me.
man.
So that's why I'm here today, after doing almost 30 years in prison.
Your resilience, speaks volumes. And just imagine if you knew how to read before catching that case. Imagine how your life could have went in a total different direction. Imagine if the judge would have just said, actually, oh, you can't read? Okay, we see what the problem is. And actually brought you those type of resources instead of locking you up in a cage with, folks with not getting the type of supports that you really needed to be who you are today. So,
So that's why we got to keep pushing education, right? And the ones that we know that's failing, we need to grab hold to them and teach them, because it's our responsibility, and not let them fall to the wayside.
Exactly. Let's talk about your civic duties.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about these civic duties, because in the last few months, I've been dabbling down that area too. Going inside city council, letting them know how I feel, making them mad at me.
Keep doing
I'm
it.
keep making them, knocking on the doors. You finna open up the door for this community. Because the community needs some assistance, some help. That we constantly see a thing and don't speak on it or try to make a change, and then while I'm in this business of doing what I'm doing. So with that being said, how difficult has it been either to connect with the mayor in Oakland, or just getting the city council or their representatives to listen to hear what you got to say?
Yeah, I don't know who people been talking to, but we talk to the mayor of Oakland.
Yeah.
We speak to our city council members, Miss Treva Reed for District 6. Kevin Jenkins for Treva Reed for District 7, Kevin Jenkins for District 6, Carol Fife for District 3. We speak to our people.
I got to meet with Carol Fife coming soon.
Yeah.
For Oakland. Yeah.
So, and I think this is what we getting in misconstrued, my people. These people are not about to come save you.
Exactly.
Who do you think about to put the cape on? Okay? It is time for us to save ourselves.
Exactly.
Yes, they are there in those positions so they can help us get the resources that we need, but it's up to us to do the work.
Because actually, they really don't know, because they're not really from our community. They just there.
Well, some of them are, some of them not. Some of them probably haven't had as many experiences, but like you said.
Well, I'm going to say for Richmond.
Okay,
so
for
they can hear
Richmond.
me.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got you. Oh, I met your mayor too.
Okay.
I met your mayor.
You think you from Richmond?
I don't know. Where's he from?
Aguado.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I got you. I mean, yeah, Ecuador or something.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, he was great. We went to a community event about clean air, because we don't even want to get on y'all EJ issue in Richmond. But it's important that people understand that these people are not about to save you.
They're not.
It's up to us. People with the solutions are the people who are closest to the work, right? The people on the ground, us. The people who are actually your neighbor, right? You need to talk to your neighbor about what's going on. And just like you say, you've been going to those meetings, continue going to those meetings.
Absolutely.
Because our voices is what needs to matter, right? Our voices is what's going to amplify and really going to push the urgency on bringing the resources to the people who have been historically disadvantaged. That is so important. So I think it's great that we do have our city leaders. I think it's great that our city leaders show up for us, of course, but
we got to make them work.
We got to make them work. And we got to put the work on ourselves, my people. We got to come together. You got a community-based organization. You got a for business. You got the youth. You know what I mean? I'm always use that example because it's different things that we can all contribute to make this work, and then we bring them to the table. Now, our people have been pretty amazing in this work that we've been doing. Shout out Treva Reed. She was actually the first person to hire Khariyyah Speaks when I started about 2 years ago to host her fundraiser in her event, in her birthday party. So I think that it's amazing to understand and identify the people, your constituents, identify their talents, and lift that up.
Right.
That's important. Yes. You got to do that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so.
Absolutely.
So, I'm just going to add, in regards to when we're dealing with, the political side of a thing, in regards of, connecting with these I wouldn't say politicians, but congressmen and stuff like that, right? It's just a matter of, like you said, putting forth the right language, right, through movement to stimulate them. The resources there, they're there for the people. Now you just remind them of what their roles is and what you going to them for after we collectively come together.
Yeah.
Right, and have one sound voice to approach them, right? And then you just put the agenda of what it is. Just like it's law, and that's what's so important about education. Learning the pathways of language.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you speak the right language, it stimulates.
No, you're absolutely right. And then with that language, you need to speak my language.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If I don't have those exact words that you need to understand what I'm saying there.
Right.
Communication go both ways.
Most definitely.
But I definitely hear what you're saying. We need to be united. We need to all be saying, okay, if you're saying that this is the issue, we all should be saying that this is the issue, so that, like you said, they can really understand where to attack. They can really understand where the resources need to go and where they need to continue to grow our communities.
Most definitely.
So true. I've been saying that for a very long time, to come together. We all need to come together because we're doing similar work. Everybody's organization, nonprofit, has its own uniqueness within itself. So we can't reach everybody, but guess what? Your organization might can, or somebody or else organization might can. Because if we do come together as a collective, we can be powerful. But we have to believe that though. It shouldn't be about, oh well, like you said earlier, you get more than me. It shouldn't be about that, because if this is your passion about changing the minds of the people, especially our youth, so they won't continue to make early death decisions, then we need to join forces. Because it tells us in the Quran, those band together. So let's do that. Let's band together and make a movement for our community.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I truly feel that type of unity is ultimately what's going to bring the changes that we need to see.
Right.
And encourage the types of ways that we want people to act, encourage the behavior, encourage the environment, you know what I mean?
Right.
Change the environment in ways that if we're all bended together, there's no way that we can be dismantled. You know what I mean?
Yes, ma'am.
They're not going to do what they did
Yes, ma'am.
with the Black Panther Party.
Yes,
They're not
ma'am.
going to do what they did
Yes.
with the Civil Rights Movement. They're not about to infiltrate in different ways, because we already see y'all tactics.
Right.
We already see what's going on. No, we're going to combat against that, and we all going to be on the same page
Yes,
about
ma'am.
it. So.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. I want to give a shout out, to Chevron, who came behind us and stood behind us, for our podcast. They start, funding some of the things what we do.
Okay.
I know a lot of people say, hey, the environment, but, we get it. Hey, we Robin Hood, so hey, we got to pay Robin Hood sometimes. But, shout out to Chevron for sponsoring us, and also for funding how we go inside of Greenwood Academy and help the kids. To do the things, what we do as conflict mediators.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we go inside doing that twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, and it's very challenging, but it's also empowering because to being able to speak the language of other people, other children, and to meet them where they're at.
Yes.
But also seeing their parents say, hey, thank you for reaching out and helping my daughter and helping my son. And it's great, and that's some of the work, some of the latest work that we've been doing outside of podcasts, outside of going to the juvenile halls. We teach conflict mediation there also, but not just in the words conflict mediation, because we still have to come and mediate different situations. But also, we teach the basics of construction, which is MC3. We do that. We got a graduation coming up soon, right?
Yes, sir.
What the young man just built recently?
They build tiny homes.
Oh!
A mock-up tiny home, right?
up.
Yes.
And floor plans and everything. So they about finished. You're just putting the roof on it, the finishing touches.
Yeah.
We're about done, and with that paint.
They about to paint the trim and all that, put a roof on it, make it look real nice.
That's amazing.
Yes. So Sacramento, they recognize what the young men are doing. They come down there, okay, and a lot of them were able, to go home early. But we still talk about, the hand slaps through the judges and all that, the leniency, we get it. But now we really trying to figure out another way to step these kids down, to say, hey, once you leave juvenile hall, we need a better reentry process.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that
Yes.
we're working on too.
Yeah, I just want to dial back when you talked about Chevron, because that, it continues to be an issue when we have these environmental,
Right.
these agencies, right? And we have a few in Oakland, and some people may not want to receive money from those.
Right.
But the way I feel about it is it's reparations, okay?
But
First of
yeah.
all, like, we know there's been years and years of hurt on, minority communities here in Richmond, in East Oakland.
Right.
And one thing that these agencies who are still in these communities can continue to do is make a plan to say, okay, well, how are we reducing toxins within? What is our plan to
Right.
eventually leaving, how are we giving back to our youth? How are we giving back to our communities that we, for many years, have burdened with
Yes.
these environmental justice issues? So, we call it environmental racism when you put all the black and brown people right by the 880 freeway, and only the big trucks are allowed to go there, and the big trucks are not allowed to go on the 580,
Yeah.
where all the other folks
Yeah.
are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That it's a system. It was a part of the redlining that was created throughout the Bay Area. So
Absolutely.
I think it's important that you continue to work with Chevron, that you continue to let them know what you all are doing, and find out ways that they can continue to push out and help. So Chevron, we need a couple more dollars. Okay?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's also too, man, working with Chevron in regards to the sponsoring us. I won't say work, but sponsoring us in regards to the work we do, right? It's empowering. So we have to empower the identity of Richmond and Oakland. So, you have to play a part in that. What you do, you got to play a part in that, empowering the community so the community can have a bigger direction, right? And with the body of work that we doing. And the last thing I want to say is that the only way we can do that is they got to see us doing the work.
You got to see us doing the work.
It's not a punchline.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is really, critical work and critical inconsistency. You know what I mean? Where you're going to lose sleep, you're going to have headaches, right? You might lose hair, right? But it's worth it when you look at the purpose of doing a thing that's going to help the community, right? We for the people, right? And there's a lot to come with that. So I just want to make sure that we stay on point and really, really walk that walk, when we're talking about sponsorships and stuff like that. As long as they recognize the work, they should do it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you're absolutely right. One thing I just want to tap on, because I thought about it when we talked about the mental health, and then you just reminded me of this work that we really just head down, just working and grinding. We got to make sure that who's healing the healers, right?
Right.
We got to
Right.
make sure that this work is liberating, and that we are finding pleasure within
Definitely.
liberating our people.
Yes.
It has to feel good. It has to feel good, just like it feel good to embrace your child. It has to feel good just to watch that big 3 game that I was at yesterday. Shout out
there
to
too.
you. Okay.
Yeah.
It has to feel good when you're doing those other great things in life. Liberating your people need to be just as good. So if you need to take a step back, if you need to take, a trip here, if you need some time to just for yourself, if you need to delegate, make sure you're doing that, my people. Make sure, as the healer, that you are healing yourself, that you are finding avenues to really keep you balanced, keep you level, and keep your energy up, so that you can give your all to the folks that really matters.
Absolutely.
So,
said, well
self-care, right?
Self-care.
Okay, there we go.
Exactly. Self-care is daily. I love what we do. Wake up and go to sleep, breathe it, taste it. It's my thirst. So what I mean by that, the only way my thirst is gonna be quenched if I'm doing the work. So I got to go out there and serve somebody and just give them a high, adapt, how you doing today? That's part of it, 24 hours, 24/7. Before we end, I want to say this, that, we thank you for coming to the show.
Of course.
100 years enterprise, consequence of the street life. And, we have on the 27th, we've been doing the men's holding space. When we bring men together to talk about, we dab on mental health, but also different issues really plaguing men. Deep down, we get to the insight of a thing. And on the 27th, with the men's holding space, 100 years enterprise, co-biz, Richmond Fields of advocacy, and motivate to help others. We partnered up with Fab.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Therapy.
So that's going to be right here.
Yeah.
She's going to be right here in this space. But also, with that being said, a lot of women have been reaching out. Can we come? Can we come be a part of it? Stop. So then him and I, we had like, he was like, man, what the hell we gonna do when women come up in here? So I was like, man, you know, we never turned anyone around. But I want to say this, is that I've been having this idea for a long time of creating, because you said something earlier, of creating a women empowerment group. You know, here to really just come out, not just a nonprofit anything, but really to just have a space where women can come out and share the things what they do and say, how can we, you know, really get behind the community, get behind the men, and really have more balance and dedication of what needs to be done. So that's something I've been working. I've been writing a lot of things down. I started a program called Voice of the Unheard Tears. It's coming out soon.
Okay.
So it's gonna be. At first, I was gonna do the production. I started in 2019.
Okay.
But I shut it down because I didn't really understand the business. But now I got 2 women who's going to do it, but also they're going to bring more women in to do it. So that's just a podcast version of it. I won't have anything to do with it. It's just an idea for me. But the other piece is about bringing these women.
Yeah, I saw the Fly Girl Therapy. I believe that they do it out in Oakland. A sister, I think she do it. I think she do that. But I feel like it's important, especially for Black men, to have their own space. Okay.
Yes.
I think that's important.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree.
I think, you know how we do. We running this now, so you know how we do. But I think it's important for men to feel comfortable, for men to feel like they can relate on so many levels, for them to feel, you know, confident in their skin, to be able to connect with their peers.
Yes.
One thing about women is that we love hanging out with our partner. We love hanging out with our girls. There's a reason we do that, you know?
Right.
But also, I think that's important. I think there are ways that women can support, though. There are ways. Promoting, if you want to donate, if you want to bring in the resources, or, you know what I mean? I think that there are ways that we can continue to work together with this, because we all know that the women can be the backbone of an entire movement. And that movement going, the movement going to get moved, you know?
So is that almost a solicitation to assist with the men's holding space?
I'm gonna leave y'all today. You know what I mean? And one thing I always say, I only talk about what I know, right? That self-care, right? Your capacity. I'm gonna leave y'all to that, but it's gonna be exciting, and it's exciting for me to be able to say what you're doing. Right. You know, people call me all the time. Yeah, I just had a friend who had a gunshot victim. What program can I? Oh, Youth Alive. Like, people call me all the time. Hey, it's a men's space. We send
them to the holding space.
I will send them to y'all. Like, this is what we do. This is, I just love being informed, so I can be able to push you to the direction of where you need to be, especially if I can't get you there.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Most definitely. That's coming from how can I put it? Inherent space. You know, you was raised a little different. You kind of understand certain parameters. So yeah, I'm gonna give you that. But I'm gonna give you that. Yeah. So you know, it's just it's interesting, and whatever happens, what comes out of it, you know, it's surely a positive direction we want to go. We want to continue to implement positive programs, and the main thing is to enlighten the people, right, and help them galvanize to what we trying to do, and us, you know, gravitating to what they trying to do, and just make our community better. I think that's what it is. And everything what Fahim said is very impactful. So, you know, however it comes out, I'm gonna support it.
That's excellent. Yeah, I'm always support. Okay. You know, you all are doing great things.
Appreciate it. Any last words to the youth?
You know, it's always important, my folks, who no matter who you are, no matter what situation that you're in, you can always make an impact within your community. Whether you're a large corporation, you're a resident, you're a community-based organization, you play a role within the community that you live, that you play, that you work. Find out ways on how you can use your talents to best better and uplift your residents around you. If you're a large corporation, make sure you're tapping in to those youth programs and creating pipelines for our kids to be sitting in those STEM seats. If you're a community-based organization, make sure that you're partnering with other ones and making sure that y'all going for that grant funding together. Yes. If you're a resident, go to the city council meetings. Yes. Make sure that you're speaking out. When that survey comes to you, fill out the survey. Yes. Vote. No, I'm serious. Vote, my people. Register to vote. Make sure that you understand that you can impact and that you can save and change lives to the best of your ability.
So very well spoken. Thank you.
I got one last question. Have there been a point? Tell us about a point in time that you had to interrupt or just give some advice about a young woman or a young man who dealt with a violent situation.
Well, we can talk about this within my family.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I have a cousin who was my age, and she was shot and killed within East Oakland, and we had to come together. She has 2 kids. We had to come together with her at that time, 14-year-old son and 8-year-old daughter, and talk about those things and talk about how violence really affected our family.
Right.
You know, talked about how it affected their outlook on life. On wanting either to travel or to stay where you are just to avoid it, to have that constantly on your mind. How do you navigate through that? Luckily, we did come together as a village, and my little cuz, he's in college at Contra Costa College right now. My little cousin, she's a world famous dancer right now, and they're doing excellent. But these are things that impacted them on ways that have changed their lives forever, and being able, teaching them to be resilient, being there for them, going to the school when they have a school meeting, assisting their grandmother when it's needed, making sure I'm with their uncles and building that relationship and making sure that they know that we all came together. So those was my young people, and they had to. It was right in their face. So we had to come together and really let them know that this life is worth living, and there's different pathways that we can continue to progress and grow.
It is. Thank you.
And shout out for you too for that, you know, because that's what you just defined love. So that's deep.
And there it is. Consequences of the Street Life.
Hey.
My name is Fahim.
Dante.
Patrick.
And I am Khariyyah Shabazz.
And we got Gabe behind the camera, G26 Production. Happy Father's Day to you all. We building, we growing, we serving the community, we doing what we love. 100 Years Enterprise. Find us on YouTube, 100 Years Enterprise DOP. Follow us on Facebook, 100 Years Enterprise Podcast. Facebook, 100 Years Enterprise. Our website, 100years.biz. And you can also follow us on Spotify, as well as Apple Podcasts. And again, we are 100 Years Enterprise, and we out.
Most definitely.